And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And oh man, have we got a great show lined up for you today. You know what? Here's the thing. On today's show, I'm going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your email. Now, I do this every day, Monday through Friday, that same format. Obviously, we talk about different things during those segments, but we talk about the same format. But on today's special segments, this is the day when I'm going to be with Sean LaFave, and we're going to continue our discussions on his segment, Geared for Wellness. We generally deal with current events, healthcare things, the news in general, and I want to tell you, he is just absolutely phenomenal, so I can't wait for that. But before that, I want you to stand by for news, because at 3:01 p.m. Pacific time, it is currently, get this, 82 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, I want to encapsulate the news, give you the 10 things that you need to know for today, and we're just going to abbreviate it, and then we're going to get to more in-depth. But this will give you an idea of the things that are going on today. The 10 things that you need to know for Thursday, your daily look at late-breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that'll be talked about all day today and tomorrow. And first up, how Trump won in New Hampshire. The real estate mogul capitalized on voters who described themselves as angry and those who want a political outsider in the Oval Office, according to exit polls. And the GOP field dwindles by 2. Chris Christie and Carly Fiorina both head for the exits after disappointing showings in New Hampshire. Then the government targets Ferguson, Missouri with civil rights complaint. The lawsuit accuses the city of routinely violating residents' rights and misusing law enforcement to generate revenue. And Russia proposes a March 1st ceasefire in Syria. The United States, though, calls for an immediate halt to the fighting, believing Moscow is giving itself and the Syrian government 3 weeks to try to crush moderate rebel groups. And Yellen paints a dreary economic picture. The Fed chair cautions that global weakness and falling financial markets could depress the United States economy's growth. And military chief reportedly executed in North Korea. The execution of Ri Yong-gil, if true, would be the latest in a series of killings, purges, and dismissals since Kim Jong-un took power. Well, why Twitter stock is taking another hit? The one-time trend-setting company showed no user growth at all in the fourth quarter. And Sirhan again denied parole. It's the 15th time that officials have declined to release Senator Robert F. Kennedy's assassin, and that's the way it ought to be. And what Burger King is adding to its bill of fare. The fast food chain says it plans to put hot dogs on its menu nationally for the first time ever. And then finally, Kenyan athletes allege doping bribery. The pair tell the Associated Press that the top track and field official in Kenya asked each of them for a $24,000 bribe to reduce their suspensions for doping. Yeah, I believe it, don't you? Sure. Let's get a little bit more in depth. Here's the thing, and this is exciting. Einstein's right again. Scientists detect ripples in gravity. It was just a tiny, almost imperceptible chirp, but it simultaneously opened humanity's ears to the music of the cosmos and proved Einstein right again. In what is being hailed as one of the biggest eureka moments in the history of physics, scientists announced today that they have finally detected gravitational waves, the ripples in the fabric of space and time that Einstein predicted a century ago. The news exhilarated astronomers and physicists because the evidence of gravitational waves is captured in audio form, and finding means astronomers will now be able to hear the soundtrack of the universe and listen as violent collisions reshape the cosmos. It'll be like going from silent movies to talkies, they said. Until this moment, we had our eyes on the sky and we couldn't hear the music, said Columbia University astrophysicist Zablolix Marca, a member of the Discovery team. The skies will never be the same again. Well, that's exciting. I'm not so sure that we all understand how exciting or why, but I think it's got something to do with what we're going to be able to tell about the origins of the world and the growth of the cosmos. Well, last occupiers of the Oregon Wildlife Refuge surrender to the FBI. Surrounded by FBI agents and armored vehicles, the last 4 occupiers of a national nature preserve surrendered today, and a leader in their movement who organized a 2014 standoff with authorities was criminally charged in federal court. The holdouts were the last remnants of a larger group that seized the Malheur National Wildlife Refuge nearly 6 weeks ago, demanding that the government turn over the land to locals and release 2 ranchers imprisoned for setting fires. For the first time since January 2nd, the federal land was fully under the control of the United States. Can you believe it that a bunch of farmers could stop the United States? I just find that unbelievable. How about this? Clinton aims to boost campaign with a focus on black voters. After an overwhelming loss in New Hampshire, Hillary Clinton is staking a campaign comeback on her ability to woo black and Latino voters, placing outreach to those communities at the center of her strategy to energize her 2016 bid. The 22-point loss to rival Bernie Sanders in this week's primary heightened concerns among Democrats that Clinton's message is failing to win over both women and young voters, 2 key parts of the coalition that twice elected Barack Obama to the White House. The New Hampshire defeat, along with Clinton's razor-thin win in the lead-off Iowa caucuses, raised the stakes for Clinton to rally minority voters, another pillar of the Obama coalition, in the contests coming up in Nevada and South Carolina. Excuse me. Wow, I guess I just kind of swallowed wrong or something. Certainly not what I wanted to do. And certainly not in your ear. Let's try and get this thing taken care of. How about this? Cruz has an app. He has a data app collection, and it's helping his campaign read minds of voters. Go figure, right? Now, protecting the privacy of law-abiding citizens from the government is a pillar of Ted Cruz's Republican presidential candidacy, but his campaign is testing the limits of siphoning personal data from supporters. His Cruz Crew mobile app is designed to gather detailed information from its users' phones, tracking their physical movements and mining the names and contact information for friends who might want nothing to do with his campaign. The information and more is then fed into a vast database containing details about nearly every adult in the United States to build psychological profiles that target individual voters with uncanny accuracy. Cruz's sophisticated analytics operation was heralded as key to his victory in Iowa earlier this month. The first proof, his campaign said, that the system has the potential to power him to the nomination. So does cheating. I think that's exactly what got him to be able to win in Iowa. It had nothing. It might have had something to do with this other app of his, but cheating certainly had a lot to do with it. He did wrong, and he did wrong against Ben Carson. Now, don't go away. When we come back, I'm going to talk about the riot at a prison in northern Mexico that leaves 49 inmates dead. And I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And we're talking news. You know what? I told you that it was a riot at a prison in northern Mexico, and it left 49 inmates dead. Here's the particulars. A brawl between rival drug gangs at an overcrowded penitentiary in northern Mexico turned into a riot today, leaving 49 inmates dead and 12 injured in the country's deadliest prison melee in years. No escapes were reported in the clash at the Topo Chico prison in Monterrey, said Nuevo León State Governor Jamie Rodriguez. The riot took place on the eve of Pope Francis's arrival in Mexico, a visit that is scheduled to include a trip next week to another prison in the border city of Ciudad Juarez. Rodriguez said in the morning that 52 had died, but he lowered that by 3 in the late afternoon. The reason for the changed death toll was not clear. At a news conference, the governor read a list of 40 names of confirmed victims, saying 5 of the remaining bodies had been charred by fire and 4 were yet to be positively identified. One of the injured was in grave condition. The fighting began around midnight with prisoners setting fire to a storage area, sending flames and smoke billowing into the sky. Rescue workers were seen carrying injured inmates, some with burns from the facility. You know, don't we have enough bad news here in the United States? I guess not. Nigerian suicide bomber gets cold feet and refuses to kill. Strapped with a booby-trapped vest and sent by the extremist Boko Haram group to kill as many people as possible, the young teenage girl tore off the explosives and fled as soon as she was out of sight of her handlers. Her 2 companions, however, completed their grisly mission and walked into a crowd of hundreds at Dikwa refugee camp in northeast Nigeria and blew themselves up, killing 58 people. Later, Found by local self-defense forces, the girl's tearful account is one of the first indications that at least some of the child bombers used by Boko Haram are aware that they are about to die and kill others. She said she was scared because she knew she would kill people, but she was also frightened of going against the instructions of the men who brought her to the camp, said Modu Awami, a self-defense fighter who helped question the girl. Her story was corroborated when she led soldiers to the unexploded vest. Awami said today, speaking by phone from the refugee camp, which holds 50,000 people who have fled Boko Haram's Islamic uprising. Wow. I don't even know what to say about that. Well, North Korea orders military takeover of inter-Korean factories. You know, this can't shock you. North Korea on today ordered a military takeover of a factory park that had been the last major symbol of cooperation with South Korea, calling Seoul's earlier suspension of operations at the jointly run facility as punishment for the North's recent rocket launch a dangerous declaration of war. North Korea said it was responding to Seoul's shutdown order by immediately deporting the hundreds of South Koreans who work at the complex just across the world's most heavily armed border in the city of Kaesong, pulling out the tens of thousands of North Korean employees and freezing all South Korean assets. The North also said it was shutting down 2 crucial cross-border communication hotlines. Hours after a deadline set by North Korea passed, South Korea's government said all the 280 South Korean workers who had been at the facility had finally returned to the South. Their departure quashed concerns that some might be held hostage and lowered the chances that the standoff might lead to violence or miscalculations. You know, that's an area of the world that there's just no answers. There's no understanding it either, not at all. How about this? If Ferguson dissolves the police department, who would step in? As Ferguson prepares to do legal battle with the Justice Department, the city's leaders have acknowledged the possibility that they might someday disband the police department and cede law enforcement to another agency. The question is, would anyone else want it? The federal government sued Ferguson on Wednesday, just a day after the agreement to radically reshape the city's police and municipal court practices fell apart. Now, on Tuesday, the Ferguson City Council approved the settlement, but with 7 amendments. In the eyes of the Justice Department, that amounted to rejection. Among the attempted charges was a statement that the terms of the agreement would not apply if another agency takes over duties currently provided by Ferguson, such as policing. You know, what a mess. And you know what? And whose fault is it? Should the people have stood up before this? Or would they have been killed? What kind of country is this? How about this? The Berlin Film Festival jury questioned over diversity. The Berlin International Film Festival became embroiled today in the debate about diversity in the movie industry, with jury president Meryl Streep dismissing questions about the all-white panel by telling reporters that we're all Africans, really. Streep, who heads a festival film jury for the first time, said she was committed to equality and inclusion of all genders, races, ethnicities, and religions. The 7-member jury also included German actor Lars Ettinger, British film critic Nick James, French photographer Brigitte Lacombe, British actor Clive Owen, Italian actress Alba Rowacher, and Polish director Malgorzata Zumaskwa. This jury has evidence that at least women are included and, in fact, dominate this jury, and that's an unusual situation in bodies of people who make decisions, Streep said. So I think the Berlinale is ahead of the game. Well, don't go away, folks, because when we come back, we're going to talk about the IRS loses. And the first case is the IRS must pay a refund to a non-filer. You're going to find that interesting. I'll explain it as soon as we get back from these messages. Don't go away.
This Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39. A complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Okay, here we are, my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. And we got some great cases for you today, so let's get right to it. In this case, the IRS must pay a refund to a non-filer. Sounds a little strange, doesn't it? Well, here, let me tell you about it. Michael Zarkey didn't file a tax return for 1999, and when the IRS realized this almost 3 years later, it sent him a tax bill. But it turned out that Zarkey had overpaid his taxes by $270, and he sought a refund. The IRS's objection? A person who hasn't filed a return can obtain a refund only of taxes paid during the prior 2 years. As more than 2 years had passed since his payment, Zarkey was not entitled to a refund. Zarkey went to tax court, and this is what the judge said. That is the general rule, but the IRS can send a deficiency notice to collect tax bill up to 3 years back, and when it does so, the taxpayer gets the same time limit for refund claims. So, Zarkey's refund is allowed. It makes sense. You know what? What's good for the gander is good for the goose. The IRS doesn't get to make up its own separate rules for itself and then another set for you and me. How about this? The IRS loses. An estate avoids undervaluation penalty when both sides' experts were wrong. Listen to this. When a woman died, her shares in a private company were valued by the IRS at $32.4 million and by her estate at $1.75 million. Big difference, right? Now, finding the difference startling, the court valued the shares at $13.5 million. Valued the shares at $13.5 million. The IRS then sought to impose undervaluation penalties. Let's see. There we go. Undervaluation penalties on the estate. But this is what the court said when they went to get some justice. When assets are undervalued by more than 25%, a penalty of 40% normally applies. And here the undervaluation was 87%. But this valuation was difficult. Both sides made errors, and the estate's valuation was much closer to the court's than it was to the IRS's. This gives sufficient cause to lift the penalty. Think about it. 40% on $32,000 or $1 million? That's a big deal. How about this? The IRS splits the case here. A spouse is innocent for only one of 3 years. So it's kind of a partial win. Here's the thing. Andrea Vuxta's husband earned the family's income and underpaid his taxes for 3 years. Now, he also made a bankruptcy filing in which his general debts, but not his tax debts, were extinguished. Now, after that, he died, and the IRS tried to collect from Andrea the tax that he owed on the couple's joint returns. She claimed innocent spouse relief, saying she hadn't known about the tax underpayments. This is what the court said. Andrea didn't know of the underpayment for the first year when his return was filed, so she gets relief for that year. But she had to know of the tax due for the other 2 years because of the bankruptcy case. So she does not qualify for innocent spouse for those years. You know what? You like to see the IRS lose all the time, and I do too. But sometimes, people try to take advantage of the law. That's not going to happen either. They're just not stupid. Well, you've heard me talk about being a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff. That's where we're at with this segment that we call Inside the IRS. It's a little bit like the Twilight Zone. Okay, now these are not tax court cases, but this is information that if you know about it, you can use it in your own defense when it's appropriate. Let's talk about using a family limited partnership. They could produce unexpected gift tax consequences if you're not careful. Typically, a parent transfers marketable securities to a partnership, and then the partnership interests are sold to the children at a steep discount. Now, the IRS, backed up by a recent tax court decision, determined that the use by parents of a family limited partnership could not avoid the effects of an indirect gift of marketable securities to their children. What went wrong? The couple failed to follow the formalities after their partnership was established. So you want to be safe? Fund the partnership with cash first. Formally issue ownership interests. Issue promissory notes if partnership interests are sold and not paid for immediately. And keep adequate books and records. That is the secret. You need to document everything. If you do, then the IRS has got no place to go. But if you don't, they're going to be all over you. Let me give you one more. How the IRS proves that you committed tax fraud. You know what? You ever wonder? Well, simply not reporting all of your income is generally not enough to prove that you committed a crime, even if the amount of money that you didn't report was substantial. The government has to prove that you willfully evaded the payment of tax. What the IRS looks for? Well, extensive use of cash, obtaining assets, using third parties, or making false statements to IRS agents using an investigation. Many taxpayers who've committed tax fraud also make self-incriminating admissions when being interviewed by IRS special agents. For instance, they may say, I know I should have reported the correct amount of income on my tax return, but I had no money left when it was time for me to file my return. At that point, they got caught. That wasn't a good move, was it? No, not at all. Now, let me tell you, we've got my good old buddy, Sean Lefebvre, waiting in the wings. I don't know what we're going to talk about. I sent him some stuff today. I don't know if we're going to talk about that or not, but I can guarantee you this, you're not going to want to go away, because this next hour is going to be one of the most interesting of your life. Don't go away. We'll be right back with Sean Lefebvre in the Geared for Wellness Corner right after these brief messages.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean Lefebvre, in his Geared for Wellness Corner.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:33 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 86 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's on its way down to 52 degrees. A week from today, we're supposed to have a 60% chance of rain. I don't know what the heck's going on with the weather around here. But you know what? If you're listening to us in New York City, it's 23 degrees and partly cloudy or mostly cloudy. And if you're in Chicago, Illinois, you're lucky. It's 22 degrees and it's clear. But you know what? You talk about clear, you talk about succinct, you talk about articulate. Well, that's my good buddy Sean Lefebvre. He's waiting in the wings. Hey, Sean, how you doing?
Great, Robert. How are you doing today?
I am. You know what? I'm doing good. I'm doing good. We've had some technical problems in here. We got them all resolved. Hopefully, one of them was one that you told me about that a listener had actually texted you about the sound quality going on. So we worked on that all morning today, and hopefully we've got that taken care of. So it wasn't so much, I thought it was actually on your side, but it wasn't. It was on my side. So I certainly owe you an apology for thinking bad of you.
Well, if you hadn't said anything, I would have never known any different. I just assume that everyone loves me because I'm awesome,
Oh, I love you, but but I have to be able to sleep at night. So if I'm going to accuse you of bad stuff, I got to tell you.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. Thanks.
So, hey, listen, did you get that stuff I sent you on Zika this morning?
I did. Yep, absolutely.
This is never going to end. Now it's it's just it's getting worse and worse and worse, and I still don't. By the way, did you catch the spot? Remember, you and I were kidding around. Actually, halfway kidding. We weren't kidding. And I said, "Gosh, $1.8 billion. Couldn't you kill every mosquito for that?" Well, one of the resolutions that was in that article was they're going to kill all the mosquitoes.
Yeah, that's what it said. It said right now it's until we can come up with a vaccine, and I'm paraphrasing this. Yeah. Basically, until we can come up with a vaccine for the Zika virus, the only hope we have is to just do our best to kill off every mosquito we can. As if as if the mosquitoes don't have some sort of function. I hate mosquitoes as much as anybody else when it comes to they bite you, you itch, they're annoying, they have a little buzzy sound that they give when they're close to your ear, and they're annoying. Just there's a lot of things that are annoying in this world that I don't really like, but I think in the big picture of our world ecosystem, they probably serve some sort of a function, or they wouldn't be around. And so,
any idea what it is other than aggravating us human beings?
Nope, not a clue. Never really researched it. So, yeah, and maybe that's its purpose, is just to really annoy, all of us. But I'm sure there's got to be some sort of function to it. But
well, you know what? God put them there to teach us patience.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. I still apparently have not learned that lesson, because anytime I go anywhere where there's a mosquito, it's going to find me for sure.
Well, maybe I made the comment about God put them there to teach us patience. Maybe this is proof that God has a sense of humor.
Yeah, that I believe. that part I totally believe. So, yeah, and it's, what kills me is this whole Zika virus. They're like, okay, we got to kill off the mosquitoes. Well, there's only one way to do that, and that's to fumigate the hell out of everywhere, and that everywhere includes the air that we breathe.
You mean they're not going to issue fly swatters to the public and have them go out there and kill them?
Yeah, apparently not. Apparently they don't have mosquito swatters that we get, and there's no. The military has not yet created a mosquito smart bomb. So instead of admitting the fact that it's not really the Zika virus, we'll just perpetuate this more and then poison everybody just to prove that we're right. I read that article and I just went, there's nothing intelligent in here. There's nothing good. This is, again, I hate to sound like such a conspiracy theorist.
Listen, you got to call it the way you see it. You are a conspiracy theorist.
Well, I am. Apparently I am. I never really thought of myself as one, but the more I read, the more I think, gosh, right? And like they said they found a Zika virus in the brain of one fetus. It was one kid. Yeah. Like, one doesn't prove anything. Now, if it was like 70% of the kids, I'd go, okay, we got something here. But it's one fetus. It was one child, and I can't remember. I think it wasn't even. I think it was I don't know if the mom had the Zika virus or she was displaying Zika virus symptoms, and they were able to get. What does it say? Not only size fetus. It was in a fetus. Mother suffered Zika symptoms at the end of the first trimester while she was living in Brazil. Okay, so you found one mom who has the virus symptoms, and you're going to say, yep, that's conclusive. That means that all these other kids got it from Zika virus. That would never hold water in any type of scientific research article ever.
Well, you know what? That's absolutely ridiculous. You and I were talking about. Let's see. I want to put this delicately. We were talking about abortion and being pro-choice and pro-life earlier in the week. And and I saw an article, and I think I sent it to you, because I just simply don't understand the logic of late-term abortions. And there was an article today in the Associated Press, it was either there or in CNN, I forget, talking about this big uproar because some women were being denied second trimester abortions. Why does someone have to wait until they're 6 months pregnant?
Yeah, I don't get that either, because even in the second trimester, I mean, it's let alone the third trimester.
You know what the description, I want to warn you folks, this is going to get vivid. The description of a second trimester abortion is dismembering the fetus in the womb.
Yeah. Yeah, they actually have, and again, I've never been part of any of this. I've never watched it firsthand. I only can go off of secondhand knowledge. But they actually have a thing that they can actually shove into the brain. It's like an ice pick that goes into the brain of the fetus as long as they do it before the baby comes out of the mom, they can shove this thing into the brain, and it basically whirls around in it, and it scrambles the brain to make sure that the baby is dead before they remove the baby from the mom.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's murder.
Yeah, that is murder. Yeah, if this baby can viably live outside of the womb at all, even on a respirator, even on life support, until it can mature, then it's murder, because you would never do that to, imagine if we went up to, someone who's we know has no chance of recovering, even if the person's brain dead, but they're on life support, you can't go over and kill that person.
No.
Even though if you unplug the machine, that person would die, that's still considered murder. And why that doesn't apply to babies that haven't been born yet is really.
You know what? You're right. You're absolutely right. And what a great analogy. When you have the power to pull the plug, which is an artificial means of keeping you alive, but you can't do anything to assist or to advance that death. That person, when you pull the plug, they actually still have to die on their own.
Right, exactly.
So why on earth is it okay for us to authorize a butcher, whether that be a physician or not, to actually stick a needle in the brain of a fetus? This is not making any sense to me at all. And why on earth, if a woman can protect herself from pregnancy, and the technology we have today, and they can do it, right away, there's not even an issue. I don't understand this wait till the second trimester baloney.
Yeah, I don't. It's not something I'll ever be able to wrap my mind around.
Matter of fact, I got a problem wrapping my mind around the end of the first trimester.
Yeah, as well. Yeah, so do I. I just don't see. It really literally comes down to, it's a matter of convenience. Someone, made a choice. They had sex and got pregnant, and now that woman doesn't want to go through with having this baby, and so she decides that the best thing in her interest is to terminate the pregnancy. And it's really, the vast majority of pregnancies that are terminated for convenience and not for health reasons or any other reason at all. I'm sure there's a very tiny percentage that are terminated due to health or maybe rape or incest or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's far the exception.
But those, in cases of the imminent death of the mother or rape or incest, those are abortions that can take place very quickly. They shouldn't be prolonged and waited out there.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you would think that if a woman was raped and she got pregnant, she wouldn't wait a few months to make her mind up.
It's hard for me to understand, but I would think that a woman, if she was raped, she'd get that. What is that? R342 or whatever that morning after pill is.
Morning after pill, right? Exactly. Yeah. That would be. Yeah.
Doesn't that just? If a woman was raped and she goes to the hospital and they do a rape kit, you would think part of that would be, here, take this pill.
Yeah, if you don't want to live with the potential, outcome of you may be pregnant, take this right now, just so you don't even have to go through the process of taking a pregnancy.
There's no gestation. If you take that pill right away, gestation doesn't happen immediately. Right. Those pollywogs just don't swim that well.
Right, exactly. And I agree with. I'm totally in support of that.
God, I hate it when you and I agree.
I know that we have nothing left to talk about.
Oh no, we got a lot to talk about, and we're gonna do that when we come back from this commercial message. Boy, did you see the news about Einstein today?
Don't
say it. I'm going to talk to you about that when we come back from this commercial message.
I'm excited.
We'll be right back with our own Sean LaFave and the Geared for Wellness Group right after these brief messages, folks.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, General Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:49 p.m. Pacific time. It's still 86 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. If you're listening to us in Paris, France, it's currently 39 degrees. I'm going to turn your microphone off, Sean, because
sorry.
Come here. Anyway, if you're listening to us in Paris, France, it's 39 degrees and mostly cloudy. And if you're listening to us in Rome, Italy, it's 50 degrees and scattered clouds. Now, Sean, what the heck was that?
Well, I opened up that email that you sent me about the article about the police thing for the drug trafficking thing, and it came up with the video, and the video started playing. I forgot my computer wasn't muted, so I was like frantically trying to mute my computer, but I'm good now.
Oh, not a problem. So listen, and we can even talk about that, but did you get the news about Einstein was being right again, that scientists detect ripples in gravity?
Yeah, I saw that about it. It was something about his time-space relativity.
Yeah, the time-space continuum in gravity. And this is opening the door to the beginning of time travel. This is unbelievable stuff. And can you believe it? I mean, Einstein himself really thought that he was wrong when he suggested that this was a reality. He was beginning to think 30 years later that, he was wrong about it. And now here we are today, and scientists have proven, yep, Einstein was right again.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to think that, one man just how it is that one man can be so right about so many complex issues. The word genius really doesn't even apply.
Doesn't it make you wonder about his thought processes, how analytical his thought process have to be, and how absolute minute the detail must be for him to figure these things out?
Yeah, I was reading an article about how he came up with some of his theories, and one of the stories that he had when he talked about the traveling at the speed of light or faster than the speed of light and being able to go back in time.
Yeah,
was he was actually sitting in a classroom, and he was looking at a clock, and he watched the hand move and on the clock, and his thought process was, now I see that hand moving, but what if I was moving? Now I see it that comes to me at the speed of light, but what if I was moving at faster than the speed of light? Would I, not be able to see the hand move? But if I moved even faster than that, would I see the hand move backwards? And I can't remember the exact, process that went through his mind. But basically, that's how he, his thought process was. You and I would look at a clock like, oh, okay, great, I got one less minute of class to sit in. And he says to himself, well, if what I see is moving at the speed of light, what would happen if I was also moving at the speed of light? How would that change how I perceive time? And what if I was moving faster? Would I actually be getting ahead of time, and would things start moving backwards? And it really is just, everything about, he thought in a way that
Well, he was
maybe nobody has ever thought.
Yeah, he was inquisitive, which is what most people are not, and he just couldn't accept things for the way they were. Sort of like Newton with gravity, right? In the apple falling. You and me, we see oranges fall off a tree or an apple fall off a tree. We don't think anything of it, right? But Newton says, wait a minute, why does it fall down? Why does that happen? Right? Exactly. And that's the same way that Einstein was. He just didn't accept. His mind flowed in a whole different direction. He was like a savant, right? He started to think in an expanded way. I'm not so sure his mind wasn't in another dimension, which is what they're talking about here, a whole new dimension.
Yeah, it had to be. I mean, it's just, when they say that we use 10 or maybe 11% of our brain function, I wonder if someone like Einstein, maybe he used 15 or 20%.
No, actually, and I don't know how they document this, but I saw a study one time that said that Einstein only used 8% of his brain power.
Really?
Yeah.
So he uses less than the average.
I do not know how they determine that, because I know that I'm using 100% of my brain power, and I'm not coming off too smart.
You come off pretty smart to me.
Talking about smart. Well, I don't know how smart he is. I personally don't. I personally don't like him. But did you see the news about Ted Cruz today? Ted Cruz apparently developed an app. Now, remember when the NSA was listening in on all of our conversations and our emails and all that stuff? Well, Ted Cruz has a data app that he has for his campaign, and he actually listens in to everybody. He does it before he goes to do a town hall or to give a speech, or he goes visit a place, and he can actually find out what everybody's thinking, what hits their hot buttons, what does everything before he gets there, so he can tailor what he's saying to the crowd that he's going to be in front of.
That's pretty scary, actually.
I mean,
you're saying, now, is this an app that people willingly download on their phone? It's the Ted Cruz for President app. I mean,
yes,
what is the app called?
yeah. If you go to the Ted Cruz, site, let me read you. It says, protecting the privacy of law-abiding citizens from the government is a pillar of Ted Cruz's Republican presidential candidacy. But his campaign is testing the limits of siphoning personal data from supporters. His Cruz Crew mobile app is designed to gather detailed information from its users' phones, tracking their physical movements and mining the names and contact information for friends who might want nothing to do with his campaign. And then he goes on and he moves on beyond that. Can you believe it?
I can believe it. But,
I got to tell you.
Wow.
Now, I got to tell you, this is not the first time. It is the first time with this kind of technology. Bill Clinton was the first person, when he ran for president the first time, that actually he didn't use this kind of technology because he actually didn't have it, but he took polls. Every time he was going to go to a city, he'd have pollsters take polls and ask questions to find out what the hot buttons were for people, so that when he got there, he only talked about the things that would be readily acceptable by the people he was talking to. That's why he got the kind of acceptance that he got. And this is exactly what Ted Cruz is doing, but on a technical scale.
Yeah, but he's doing it in a way that you don't even know you're participating.
That's right.
It's an unwilling offering of information.
He's usurping private information from his supporters. I wonder at what point they're going to do a backlash from that.
Yeah, boy, I can't imagine this is going to go over well for him, because conservatives especially, I think everybody in the country, but especially conservatives, they don't want the government, they don't want any aspect of the government at all listening in on their personal lives. And I can't imagine this is going to go over well for him. But, I've just come to the conclusion, too, that the general American person just really doesn't give a crap about a whole lot of things. It's like Hillary Clinton, she's corrupt, she lies, she's got scandal after scandal after scandal, and a lot of politicians do as well. But the problem isn't that Hillary Clinton is such an awful person, it's that the people who support her just really don't seem to care.
Yeah. But you know what? She's the head of the group, and the buck stops there. Now listen, hold that thought. We'll talk more about this when we come back from this short commercial, and then we'll have 18 minutes before we have to take another one. So we'll be right back with our own Sean LaFave in the Geared for Wellness Corner.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. Yeah, you know what? It's still 86 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire. That's not changing at all. But I can tell you, if you're listening to us in Rome, Italy, it's currently 50 degrees with scattered clouds. And if in London, England, 41 degrees and clear. But you talk about clear-headed, clear-thinking, good guy. My good buddy Sean LaFave is waiting in the wings. He wants to talk about, I don't know what he wants to talk about. Probably Ted Cruz and Hillary Clinton. They're both doing the same thing, you know.
Yeah. Exactly.
Ted Cruz. Yeah, Ted. You know, I also read in the news today that Hillary Clinton is going to do a shift and re-gear her campaign. She got devastated in New Hampshire. Barely came out ahead of the game in Iowa. And so now she's going to regroup because she's going into the South, and she's got to carry the minorities. She's got to carry the black and Hispanic vote, or she isn't going to make it. The interesting thing is that, and I didn't give it much thought, Sean, until this morning. You know, the fight isn't what it appears to be. If you start looking at the electoral, the delegates. Hillary Clinton's way ahead of Bernie Sanders. Yeah,
that's what blew me away. You know, I kind of sort of understand, but not really. But you know, he, as far as popularity goes, he beat her hands down in New Hampshire. But
yeah,
she got the equal number of delegates there. Yeah. And it's just, you know, I don't know.
Well, you know what?
What areas to really push to get those delegates.
We need some kind of reform on the way we do our voting. It just seems, a guy can, the majority of the United States can want a person, but that isn't necessarily who they're going to get. It's based on the electoral votes, and so that's what they're playing with here. And now, I understood delegates, but now all of a sudden there's this new term that I wasn't familiar with: super delegates, which means that super delegates are delegates that have already committed into the future that can't change their mind until after the first vote at the convention, which means that Hillary has lined up all these super delegates that have already pre-committed, and Bernie hasn't got any of those. And that's why right now Bernie's got a really uphill fight on the Democratic side.
That boggles my mind how they can, take something and make it predetermined like that. I don't know. I just don't get it.
I don't even like it. I think it's dishonest.
Yeah. It sounds dishonest. It sounds like a way to game the system and stack the deck, in the favor of whoever you want it to be in the favor of. It's pretty simple. It doesn't sound like it makes any real sense at all.
Well, I mean, if Hillary already has all these delegates and there hasn't even been a primary in those states, then why are we even going to bother to vote?
Yeah, right, exactly.
No, I mean, I don't feel that way. I feel like every American should vote, and it is not a privilege; it's a right. And the thing is that, but if it is all predetermined like that, then you got to say to yourself, well, why am I voting? I don't really have a voice here.
Yeah, and I think that is kind of sums up how most Americans feel in general about the election process. But when you start throwing things like, super delegates, which I've never heard of those either, and then you go, well, it's already pre-canned, it's already figured out who's got the lead. Why even show up? And it does. It's disheartening for, I think, the general American, population that we just go, no matter what you do, whoever the government wants to win, they're going to stack the cards in that person's favor, and it really does feel like your vote doesn't matter. The big picture of things, really one vote out of millions and millions doesn't. But it's important that you show up. It's more, this is something I can remember having this discussion with my college professors. Back when I was in college, and the truth of the matter is, in the big picture, your vote doesn't matter, but you should show up and do it out of a sense of duty and patriotism, and know that it's such a privilege to be able to do that, because other countries don't have that privilege. That you should be excited to go vote, and that's why we should vote, is because it's a privilege that we don't ever want taken away from us. And and obviously, but it's not. But it is not a privilege. It is a right. This is not a privilege. This is a right. A privilege is something the state or the government can license you for, and and allow you to do something. But you have a right as a United States citizen to vote. And here's the thing. I was just saying that voting doesn't make a difference, but I'm going to contradict myself. 8 people on the GOP candidacy side have fallen by the wayside because people are not voting for them. People do not like them. But it does. But it does. The people that are strong, that are staying, are the ones that are playing that delegate card and not the individual voter cards, and that's what's really going. You look at Bush. And Bush is not doing well at all, right? But he's got these super delegates. The reason he hasn't quit. If he had done really poorly in New Hampshire, I think he probably would have quit, because it's a money issue. He's only hanging in there because he's got $100 million sitting out there. But I'm sitting there and I'm convinced, and I know I'm going to be sorry I'm even saying this, but I'm convinced that the real race is going to be between Cruz and Trump. And I don't think Marco Rubio stands a chance of becoming a close third here. And I agree with you on that one. That's kind of where I've seen this going for, I don't know, a while anyway. And you and I had this discussion months ago. Mm-hmm. I can remember us talking about when, the presidential candidates started coming out, and we were talking about, who's out there. And I remember talking about Marco Rubio, and I like Marco Rubio. There's a lot of things about him that I find admirable. And, the thing that you said was he's too young. He won't be able to make it as a presidential candidate yet. Yeah. Give him, let it go. Let it, maybe not this election, not next one, maybe the one after that. He needs some seasoning. Saying that months ago.
He needs some seasoning. I think it's a good thing for him to run. I don't think it's a waste for him to run, but I do think that this is an opportunity for him to get some seasoning under his belt, to get a little maturity under his belt. I do have a problem with a fella that runs for the Senate, doesn't like the Senate, doesn't show up for his votes, doesn't do his job, gets paid, and now he's running for another job that if he doesn't like it and he doesn't do his job, we're in deep trouble.
Yeah, no kidding.
So I mean, the election process is one that is very aggravating and disappointing when you start digging at it. I just don't like the inequities of what's going there. I think that even when we get to the general election, you're still playing. All of a sudden, you're not playing the delegate card, you're playing the electoral vote card, and so it all winds up being the same. This whole thing, I don't know why it's got to be so confusing. Why can't it be that if the majority of the voters in the state of any state votes for one person, then that one person gets that state's vote? They get just one vote. But if the majority of the citizens who vote in that state vote for one person to win, then that person gets that state's vote, and each state gets just one vote. And then the whoever winds up getting 26 votes wins.
I don't know that you could do it because, what if you won, North Dakota, Wyoming, Montana, South Dakota, and Nebraska?
Yeah.
I mean, those, you certainly can't pull as much weight into Wyoming as you do into California. I think that's, you either win the state or you don't win the state. Make the state win by popular vote, not by delegates.
Yeah.
But also do an extrapolation for population.
Well, yeah, but that would be easy enough to do. If you think about it, that's an easy thing to do. We do it for congressional representatives, and so you could do it that way. The congressional representatives are based on population. So if you've got if you've got 80 congressional representatives, then that's the way you ought to do it. You ought to say, hey, they've got 50% of the vote in the state of California, and the California's got 80 representatives. 40 of them go to this guy, and 40 of them go, and whatever the percentages are. Then it does away with the Electoral College, and then it's more representative of what the people actually want.
Right.
I mean, it's got nothing to do with the representatives, but using that as a barometer.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I don't know. The system, they move borders around, they change things to, tweak it and make it fit their own agenda. And, I'd love for it to just be, why not just do a straight up popular vote?
Yeah. Well, I mean, back, but I remember when it was Truman and Dewey. I remember. I don't remember. I remember that. I was alive. I was alive when Truman left office. When Eisenhower took office from Truman, I was alive. But I wasn't cognizant of what the heck was going on. But I do remember reading about, the Truman Dewey issue, and there was a big headline: Dewey wins, but Dewey didn't win. Truman won.
And why was that? And
that was the difference between the electoral vote and the popular vote.
Oh, the popular vote, yeah.
Because Dewey got the popular vote, but I'm sorry, Dewey got the popular vote, but Truman got the electoral vote.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Yeah, it doesn't make any sense how they. I don't understand why they thought that was a good idea. I thought that actually happened with. Was it Bush when he beat Gore? I think.
Well, that's the same thing. Well, that was because of that all came down to Florida. Remember?
That was the Florida with the what do they call them?
Yeah, the dangling chips. Yeah, the dangling chads, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then you know what? You know who wound up choosing the president of the United States? The Supreme Court chose the president of the United States that year.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, that was.
Well, I remember George Bush calling Al Gore and congratulating him on his win, and all of a sudden they went, "Whoa, wait a minute, not so fast."
Yeah, and you remember how long it took? I mean, there was big court battles and appeals and the whole 9 yards with that presidential election. Unbelievable.
Yeah. That was interesting.
And to have it so close, I mean, can you imagine? How close that was? Wow. Unbelievable. All right. So listen, what else do you want to talk about today?
Well, we were talking last week, about just, all the travels you've done and going all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we talked about all the great things in all these other countries. And I even made the statement, that really, there's a lot of people that say the United States is the greatest country in the world. And I said, maybe in some areas, but it's certainly not the greatest country in the world in all areas, and maybe not even in the well-rounded big picture. But in the world of healthcare, we are far from the greatest country in the world. And so I've been kind of doing a lot of this stuff. The numbers that I've been looking up here in the last couple days are things that I already knew, but I just didn't have them written down and on a spreadsheet. And so I've been trying to kind of put things together. And it's just really interesting. The United States. This article here is, who all this, I can't think of, who was it, Bloomberg. I can think of Bloomberg. I said Bloomberg, ranks, and they go through their things, to determine, the rankings of what makes a country healthy, things like, infant mortality rate, maternal death rate, and vaccinations, and, life expectancy, and smoking, and all these different things. And so they rank the countries. And, basically the best places in the world to live are Europe and some parts of Asia. But, the United States, according to Bloomberg, is, as far as healthiest countries in the world, we are number 33.
Really?
Yeah, and I knew that. I knew we were way down the list. We've been way down the list. So,
it's interesting that health-wise is a correlation so closely to education-wise.
Yeah, and our education system sucks too. You're right, exactly. We have a horrible education system. We spend more money on healthcare than any other. We spend almost $9,000 a year per capita on healthcare here in this country, and we're only ranked number 33. And if you look at the list, people that are right around us, it's like number 31 is Kuwait, and then comes Czech Republic, and then us, and then Bosnia Herzegovina, Bahrain, Croatia, Mexico. I mean, even Cuba is number 28. It's a communist little island, poor country, right south of Florida there, and even they beat us by 5 whole ranking points. And it's just it amazes me that we live in a country that is so wealthy and has so much technology, and we continue to slip, every year, lower and lower and lower in the rankings, in the world rankings of healthcare. We were last year, I was reading, the report on maternal death rates, and that's, death of the mom in relation to pregnancy or birth. And the United States was one of only 8 countries in the entire world that actually had an increase in the maternal death rate last year. And, that's a scary thing to think. Why is it that the United States, of all places, and other countries that had an increase in maternal death rate were, very poor countries. They weren't, anything. There was no other, Western world. There's probably not even a second world country on there. They were all third world countries that were on that list along with us, on those other 7 countries. And if you look at, like what is this? This is from the CIA. Which one is this? This is infant mortality rate. We are ranking out of, how many countries? 224 countries. We are number 167. So that means that there's about 40 countries that have lower infant mortality rate than the United States.
You know what? Isn't that embarrassing?
It is.
You and I talked about this on Tuesday. I am a patriot. I love this country, but stats like that are embarrassing to me. I don't understand. Yeah. I don't understand how we can allow that to happen.
Yeah, I don't either. We're up there in company with places like Serbia. Serbia is right above us, and Croatia is right below us. Bosnia Herzegovina is right there. Guam, New Caledonia, Latvia, Latvia and Slovakia beat us in infant mortality rates. Cuba again beats us by they're 13 countries ahead of us. And they spend, I don't know what they're spending. In fact, I can probably look it up here. I've got all these things at my fingertips. I'm kind of excited. This is kind of, this is my version of playing. When people ask me what I do in my spare time for fun, it's usually stuff like this, and I really enjoy it. And I wonder if that, I'm sure that makes me.
Well, you know what? But I love statistics, and the thing is that when you start studying statistics, and I had to do it in school, I'm sure you did too. The problem with it is it can become very very depressing and very demoralizing if you're studying statistics about rankings of countries, because the country you live in, you want to believe is number one in everything, and boy, we are far from it.
Yeah, we are very far from it in pretty much everything that really matters. Yeah, we have maybe, I'm not even sure if this is true anymore, but we'll probably still have the mightiest military in the world.
Well, we do have the mightiest military in the world. There's no question about that.
We've got that, and there's a lot of other things that we do have that are great. But even I was looking at the rankings of quality of life. This is an article called the U.S. News and World Report, and amazingly enough, and of course they probably, our neighbors Canada, they're number one as far as quality of life. And they look at all kinds of things from the environment and, again, life expectancy, health, climate and all these different things. And of course, Canada's kind of got it made. If it wasn't for us, Canada would be in a world of hurt because they really couldn't protect themselves.
Well, hold that thought, and then make a presentation to me on why we shouldn't make Canada 3 more states, using what's going on and make them part of the United States. Anyway, we've got to take a short break. We'll be right back with our own Sean LaFave in his Geared for Wellness Corner right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And holy mackerel, at 4:23 p.m., it's finally getting cooler. It's 84 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 50 degrees. But you know what? If Sean and I were in Vienna, Austria, it'd be 36 degrees and clear, and we'd be listening to the show with our listeners over there. Or how about Madrid, Spain, Sean? It's 52 degrees and clear. Yeah, absolutely. So listen. We were talking about the standings, and I find it very depressing. But you're talking, what you have from Bloomberg, is that mostly medical standings, or does it give you a lot of different ratings?
Well, it takes into account, as far as this was just the I guess the healthiest countries to live in, the healthiest countries, and so this was health standards. The other one that I was referring to, where Canada's number one, is overall quality of life, and that just includes everything from health to things to do to whatever. That's but yeah, as far as health goes, that's the opposite of what the Bloomberg report was on. Was the state of health for each country, and that was where we were number 33.
Do you know what the population of Canada is? I don't know. I should have looked it up. And I was just wondering. You think about Canada, you think about Mexico, and you think about us, and we're the smallest landmass in the middle of all of that stuff, right?
Yeah. We have what, 310 million people, I think it is, and Canada has about 35 million. So we have significantly more people, but they have far more landmass. You can't live in most of it's just frozen tundra.
It makes you wonder if there'll ever be a day when we have a universal government, one that, I don't mean necessarily the United States, but a world government that actually polices all the different countries and all the different territories and all of those things and makes them fall into line and stay peaceful. At some point, does the United States absorb Canada and Mexico so that all of North America is, the United States?
Yeah, and I could, I can kind of see that happening, but I can also see, that there would be a lot of resistance. But I mean, think about Quebec. They've wanted to break off and make their own country. I doubt the last thing that they're going to want to do is become part of the United States.
Oh yeah, matter of fact, they're not very fond of the United States. I've been to Quebec. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've been there. They've treated me really nice. It's a beautiful place, and it's right there on the St. Lawrence River. It's beautiful, but they're not real pro-American in Quebec.
No, they are definitely not. But that's most of the world anyway. Most of the world is not really pro-American. There are some,
yeah, you're right.
There are some countries that are, but I'd say most of the world is not a pro-American. They think that we're just like we talked about Tuesday. We're just the ugly Americans that we're out to force ourselves and our freedoms onto the rest of. It's so funny how the rest of the world just hates us so much, but you like where I live here, I live in Orange County, California, and you can't drive, you can't go anywhere at all without seeing at least 5, 6, 7, 10 different nationalities with a 1 mile drive. It's just literally there are days where I look around and I realize I see more people from other countries than I do white Americans here in the United States.
But that is the makeup of our country. We're a potpourri of nationalities in this country that have melded together to become Americans or United States citizens. And the thing is that when you think about that, I have a really, really close friend that lives in just outside of Paris, and he'll call me once in a while and says, "Bob, what the hell are you doing?" And I said, "Andre, I don't know. What did I do?" Because the United States does stuff, and those of us that live here in the United States haven't got a clue what the heck we did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I'll say, "Andre, I don't know. What did I do?" Of course, the French, the one thing that they have absolutely got a corner on, and that's swearing. They know how to swear.
The French?
Oh yeah. They know how to. They know how.
Really?
Oh yeah, they know how to.
Maybe that must be why it comes so naturally. My last name is Lefebvre. I guess that would be that must be in my DNA. It's in my genes.
I need to put you and Andre together. It's interesting. I made this comment, I think, earlier in the week. I think I did anyway. I usually do when I'm talking about different countries and in news and stuff like that. And my wife and I have acknowledged the fact that it's interesting that if you really want to know what's going on in the United States, you have to get outside of the United States and read and listen to the media outside the United States to find out what it is we're actually doing.
Yeah, I used to read on a regular basis. One of my favorite periodicals. It was a magazine. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's called The Economist, and and it's from England. And I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it gives a very different perspective. But yeah, I've been fortunate enough, as you have, to travel around the world, and you do see the United States from a very, very different perspective than you would if you never left the United States. I mean, there are people who don't even leave their own home state. So how could you possibly know what's going on in this country if you live in a bubble like that?
We've got people that haven't left their own neighborhood.
Yeah. You know what? I had, and it's funny how certain regions are worse at that than others. And the farther east you go, especially towards the northeast, it's crazy. They don't like going very far away. And I used to live right near Boston, and I would talk to people about a town that was literally you could drive to in 20 minutes, and they'd go, I've never been there before. I'm like, what do you mean you've never been there? It's like right there. They go, I got no reason to drive that far. I got everything I need right here.
Yeah.
People who live in the Boston area, and I'm assuming New York's probably very similar, and a lot of these places, if they've got to drive for more than an hour, they're packing an overnight bag. They're not going to drive, 3 hours to go do something and then drive home that same day. That's just, that's absurd to them. But when I was living in Massachusetts, I had a friend out there I was talking to, and he was saying when he got married, his grandmother lived on Nantucket Island, and of course, there's a bridge that goes from Nantucket onto mainland Massachusetts. And he said his grandma came to his wedding, and it was somewhere, in the Boston area, and said that was the first time in his grandma, he's old enough to get married, and his grandma, first time in her entire life that she ever left Nantucket Island.
Oh my.
And Nantucket is tiny. It's a tiny island, but, I even when I lived in North Dakota, matter of fact, I got engaged when I was living in North Dakota. Never married the gal, but her grandfather, born and raised in North Dakota, he left North Dakota one time in his whole life because he needed to go to Minneapolis, and it had something to do with, I can't remember if it was someone else was sick or something. He went to a hospital there. Yeah. But lived his whole life in North Dakota, of all places. That's boring as it gets.
But Sean, you know why? You really know why that is, right? When you talk about Idaho and Montana and North and South Dakota and in all of those states, there aren't very many people or not much population in those states. Those people are afraid to leave because Canada might steal them.
Yeah, no kidding. That far north is true. It's funny. I will say, Californians are definitely guilty of that, because we really do here in California. We've got pretty much almost everything you can want. We've got mountains. We've got the beach. We've got the deserts. We've got a little bit. You can live the cowboy life. You can live the hippie life. You can be almost anybody here in California. You can have the big city. And so Californians, I know, tend to really have that mentality of why do I need to go anywhere else? But they'll drive for hours. They don't have a problem with going long distances.
Oh no! I mean, would it bother you to drive to San Diego for the day?
No, absolutely not.
No. I mean, we do that, or go to Los Angeles for the day, or go to Santa Barbara for a weekend, or Santa Catalina Island. Because we are a commuter state. Yeah. We don't think anything of jumping in the car and driving for an hour and a half for dinner.
Yeah, Victor and his buddy John, they just literally yesterday and the day before, Tuesday morning they left. They drove from here in Newport up to Monterey. What is that like? And they didn't drive interstate the whole way. They took the 405 to everyone else is like, why is he talking about these freeways? I don't know what they are. 405 to the 101 to the Pacific Coast Highway. From Morro Bay to Monterey. That's a couple hours on PCH.
Yeah,
and it's a beautiful, stunningly gorgeous drive. But you don't drive very fast. It's a very windy road. You got a cliff on one side and the ocean on the other side. And it's gorgeous. But yeah, they drove up there, and it's probably took them 7 to 8 hours to get there. All they did was spend the night and go walk around, and then they drove back last night. That was it. But in other parts, I mean, literally in Massachusetts, if you drove for 7 hours, you'd be in a whole different. There's no way to stay.
Are you kidding? You couldn't. In 7 hours, you could drive from the tip of Cape Cod all the way to Maine, for God's sakes.
Yeah, exactly.
Through New Hampshire, through Vermont. You know.
You could drive through 6 states in New England in a 7 hour period.
Oh yeah.
So,
I mean,
yeah, it's just interesting, you know. And of course, you know, again, going back to, you know, the world and traveling, and it really is interesting when you see the rest of the world, and you know, the things that you and I talked about on Tuesday, you know, the way people live their lives. And I think that that's really kind of where I look at all of these stats and I go, you know, why do we have all these health problems? You know, why do we have infant mortality rates? Why do we have, you know, on and on and on? Why is this all an issue? Well, it just simply boils down to the way we live our lives. There is a long list of countries that have banned things like GMOs.
Yeah,
you know, it's. I mean, and it's like I can't remember. In fact, I have a list here, but I know even Russia just recently put a complete ban, 100% ban on all GMO production. That means you can't grow anything GMO, and you can't package anything GMO in the country of Russia.
Well, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So, and so you got to say to yourself, you think in terms, if you're a citizen and you're a patriot of the United States, you think in terms of Russia as being a backward, know-nothing country. And the truth is, I've been to Russia, and it's not that way.
It's not that way, and I think that as much as you know, Putin has his issues with with attacking Ukraine and all these other things he does, and yeah, maybe he does some stuff that we don't like and we certainly don't agree with, and maybe aren't the best. But I think that he's going to propel that country forward in a pretty powerful way, and I think that that's something that country and Putin specifically we need to keep an eye on, because I think he's a force to be reckoned with, and he's going to do things to make that country, you know, as not to try to paraphrase or phrase.
Well, you know, here's the thing.
Trump there, he's going to make Russia great again if he gets the chance.
Well, you know, here's powerful. He's a thug, and he's going to make it happen whether the people want it or not.
Right.
You know, and there's a lot going on there. I mean, I'm not saying I would ever want to be a resident of Russia, but you know what? It's not what the majority of Americans think that Russia really is. And, you know, if you think about it, you know, the space station that we all meet and, you know, we go up to, Russia is the country that put it up there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Russia put that up there. Yeah. We just use it. We run space from them. Exactly.
Yeah. Matter of fact, now we actually pay for a taxi ride on their rockets to get our astronauts up there.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So listen, we've got 20 seconds before we have to say goodbye to each other. Can you believe that an hour has gone by?
Yeah, but it went by quick. You know, it's been fun, and I have no idea what we're going to talk about next Tuesday, but I'll think of something great. Maybe we could talk about, you know, what's going on in the state of the world and traveling and health and having fun. But whatever it's going to be.
Well, you know what? Let's talk about let's talk about travel. Let's talk about each of us pick different cities in different states or different countries, and our favorite thing for doing there. What our favorite thing is doing there.
Absolutely. We could do a lot of shows on that. So absolutely, that's what we'll do too. I think that'll be a lot of fun.
All right. That sounds good. Lynn, in the meantime, stay safe, stay happy, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Are you going to have company for Valentine's Day?
I was originally going to. That is not going to happen this time.
Well, don't forget the technology that you have, you know, that telephone.
I know. What is that thing? I've heard of that before.
and FaceTime, use that. That'd be a good thing for you. So stay safe, stay happy, make everybody in your life happier, which is what you do all the time anyway. And we'll talk to you on Tuesday.
Thanks, Robert. I appreciate it. Talk to you soon.
All right, buddy. Now, the rest of you, don't go away. We're going to be right back after these brief messages with the happy birthdays for today, the secret daily teaching for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. We'll be right back after these brief messages.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this. The Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:41 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 84 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, if you're listening to us in Tokyo, Japan, it's currently 39 degrees, mostly cloudy, and it's tomorrow morning at 9:42 a.m. And if you're listening to us, one of our listeners in Sydney, Australia, hey, it's 81 degrees, scattered clouds, and it's 11:42 a.m. tomorrow morning, just before noon. But you know what? Right now, let's talk about that Harvard business tip of the day. And the management tip today is keep everyone on task after your next meeting. You know, it's not as easy to do as you think. To make sure productivity doesn't slow down after you walk out of a meeting, send out clear and concise meeting notes within 24 hours and follow up on the commitments that were made. Now, these notes should state each topic that you discussed, the key takeaways, and a list of specific actions along with who will actually do them and when. Use the notes to keep everyone on track until you meet again, and then assign someone to check in with the group at appropriate intervals to ensure that the commitments are all being kept as promised or reevaluated if something unexpected actually comes up. That's how you keep on track and on task of the things that are actually going on. You want to make sure that that's exactly what you're doing. Well, You know what? Time for our secret daily teaching for your life. This is all about a positive mental attitude. You know, I've talked about this all the time. You're in total control of how you feel and how other people feel around you. You control if you're happy, you're sad, you're rich, you're poor, you're successful, you're a failure. You even control the happiness of the people around you. It's all about having a positive mental attitude. So the actual secret for today is, you know, Bob Proctor, featured in The Secret, suggests writing down what you want. Now begin each sentence with, I am so happy and grateful now that, and then you fill in the rest of it. When you give thanks as though you have already received what you want, you are emitting a powerful signal to the universe. That signal is saying that you have it already because you are feeling gratitude for it right now. Now, each morning before you get out of bed, make it a habit to feel the feelings of gratitude in advance for the great day ahead, as though it's already done. I'm telling you, folks, you're laughing. I know you're laughing. I can hear you laughing. This stuff works. It really, really does. It works. Now, you know what today is. Yeah, sure you do. Today is Thursday, February the 11th, and it's somebody's birthday. Oh, yeah, and we've got some great birthdays for today. This person was born in 1962, a musician. Her music blends rock, country, and pop into one mainstream sound, and she has won 9 Grammys. Happy birthday, Sheryl Crow. And here's a lady that everybody's heard of. I don't know what you think of her. And you know what? It's not important what I think you think of her or even what I think of her. But she was born in 1964. She was the 11th governor of Alaska and the Republican nominee for vice president of the United States in 2008. So, happy birthday, Sarah Palin. And then finally, born in 1969. Oh, wow, an actress. She became famous for her role as Rachel, the sitcom Friends. Happy birthday, Jennifer Aniston. What a beautiful, beautiful lady she is. Well, what happened today in history? I can tell you, on February the 11th, 1916, Emma Goldman is arrested for lecturing on birth control. Yeah, it was a nasty thing then. How about 1963? Did you know? Julia Child's show, The French Chef, premiered for the first time on February the 11th, 1963. And in 1964, the Beatles hold their very first concert in the United States at the Washington Coliseum in Washington, D.C. And in 2006, Vice President of the United States, Dick Cheney, shoots Harry Whittington in the face, neck, and upper torso while hunting quail. Yep, it became a big joke. You know what? How good a vice president could he be if he can't shoot somebody point blank in the face and kill them? You know, for gosh sakes. Well, our quote for today comes from Colette. Colette says, "What a wonderful life I've had. I only wish I'd realized it sooner." Think about that. That is a really, really profound statement if you think about it. Now, it's time for our interesting but useless facts. That's kind of where we're at right now. So let me talk to you about it. Did you know that the Ouija board was invented by Isaac and William Fuld and was patented on July the 1st, 1892? The Ouija board. Yeah. How about this one? Did you know that like crocodiles, alligators are part of the order Crocodilia? Now, I don't know how that got on this list. I don't even know why it got on this list. It's the stupidest thing I've ever said on this list, but it's a fact. How about this? And did you know that Mount St. Helens dropped 1,313 feet in 1980 when it blew its top off? Yeah. Can you imagine the power of nature? Big deal. Here, the movie As Good as It Gets is called Mr. Cat Poop in China. Yeah, go figure. And the Arabs are generally believed to be the first to brew coffee. Could be. Who knows? And the most shoplifted book of all time is the Bible. The most shoplifted book of all time is the Bible. Did you know that urea is found in human urine and Dalmatian dogs and nowhere else? That's it. Yeah. That's interesting, I think. Now, let me leave you with this one. On the first neon sign, the word neon was spelled out in red by Dr. Parley G. Nutting 15 years before neon signs became widely used commercially. I find that a little interesting, don't you? You know what? I got a little bit of time. Let me give you one more. There are 2,382,500, it's rounded off, Smiths in the United States. So give that some thought. And while you're thinking about it, do not go away. When I come back, I'm going to answer your emails. My first one is from Toby Tan from Atlanta, Georgia, asking about worthless securities, and I'm going to answer Toby's question right after these brief messages. So please, don't go away. We'll be right back, folks.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're coming down to the wire at 4:53 p.m. It's still 84 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire. But you know what? If you're listening to us in Hong Kong, China, it's 70 degrees and clear. And if you're listening to us in Lisbon, Portugal, it is 57 degrees and mostly cloudy. But you know what? Right now, time for me to answer your emails. I want to tell you that this is an entertainment part of the show. We do our best to answer your questions comprehensively, but sometimes the information you send us can be a little bit sketchy. So we always encourage you to contact a licensed professional where you are. They're gonna give you peace of mind, help you sleep at night. They're generally going to save you more money than they cost you. And remember that they have to have, as a condition of their licensing, errors and omissions insurance. That's the same thing as malpractice insurance. But the nice part about it is that means if they make a mistake, they pay the piper, not you. Keep that in mind. Well, my first email today comes from Toby Tan from Atlanta, Georgia, asking about worthless securities. And he writes, I was tricked into buying $10,000 of stock in a company that proved to be a scam. Can I take this as a worthless securities capital loss that I can deduct against capital gains? Well, Toby, yes, but you may do better by taking a theft loss deduction if this is considered a theft under state law. Now, a theft deduction is allowed to the extent that your loss exceeds $100 and to the extent that this excess, when combined with all other theft and casualty losses, exceeds 10% of adjusted gross income. Now, let me give you an example. Let's just say that theft is your only loss and your AGI, or adjusted gross income, is $40,000. Your deduction is $5,900. That's the $10,000 minus the 100 minus the 4,000, which is the 20% that we were talking about. Now, also, in contrast, the capital loss offsets capital gains with no more than a $3,000 net loss deductible against ordinary income, and any excess then carried forward into future years. So keep that in mind. You might be better off the other way, but always, pencil it out. See where you're better off. Go to a professional. They'll work it out for you. Do it in just seconds. Now, next email comes from Devin Tavalassi from Colton, Ohio, asking about a solo 401k plan and an LLC. It says, would the solo 401k retirement plan apply for a one-person limited liability company as an LLC? And here's the deal, Devin. The solo 401k is simply a 401k plan with only one participant. Now, fairly recent tax law changes that have been made there make it available as a new option to business proprietors who previously had to use KEO plans or other retirement saving vehicles. If the business that has a solo 401k plan hires additional employees, they must be covered by the plan in accordance with 401k non-discrimination rules. Now, a one-person LLC typically is taxed by the IRS as a proprietorship, making it able to use a solo 401k like any other proprietorship. But the 401k rules are complex and LLC rules vary by state. So check with a local expert before you do anything. It could be different based on the state that you're in. So keep that in mind. Next email comes from Joanne Berry from Erling, Iowa, and asking about the savings bond interest. And writes, I know I can report interest earned on Series EE and Series I savings bonds annually instead of all at once when I redeem the bonds. How do I find out how much interest a savings bond earns each year? And how do I avoid being double taxed when I redeem the bonds, since I'm getting a 1099 showing all the interest that was paid on those bonds? You know what, Joanne? To learn how much interest a bond actually pays annually, go to the Treasury Direct website at www.treasurydirect.gov and use either the Savings Bond Calculator or the Savings Bond Wizard, or just download Form 3501. That's comparison of year-end Series I, EE, and E savings bond redemption values. Now, to avoid double taxation when you redeem a bond, simply report the year's interest on it under the annual method and add a note to your return explaining the difference between that and the 1099 amount that you received. Now, for more details on this, just go to IRS publication 550. That's investment income and expenses, and that'll take care of your whole thing there. Don't worry about it. Well, last email comes from Afraz Amin from Houston, Texas, asking about cash rewards and says, are cash rewards that I get from my credit card taxable to me? My credit card company gives me a percentage of my total charges each month in the form of a check. Well, Afrez, you're a lucky guy, but the answer to your question is no, they're not taxable to you. Cash rewards received for using a credit card are tax-free to the card owner who receives them. The IRS considers such cash rewards to be price discounts, and a promotional or volume discount off the price of a product or service is always going to be tax-free. So keep that in mind. Hopefully that's answered your questions. Now I want to remind all of you that I'm going to encourage you to get our app. You know what? I really want you to do that. If you have an Apple product, just go to the Apple Store and search Robert Cardoza Live. The app is right there. It's absolutely free. If you've got a Windows or an Android product, go to googleplay.com and search Robert Cardoza Live. It's right there. And it's all free. If we're broadcasting live like we are now, you can listen to it. There'll be a flag there. You're listening to us live. You can even chat with us during the show. And if you just want to listen to the show after the fact or when it's more convenient for you, all of our archives are right there for you too. Now, I want to remind you that on my next show, John Matthews and Joe Hakos and I do our simulcast on the Conservative Syndicate talking politics. And David Garrett will be here to present Garrett on the Law. I want to tell you to please tell all of your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network. That's our show for
Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then, when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.